Hello, everyone. It's Chris, the Batman statue collector, and welcome to a Batman Day live stream hangout. This is one of our hangout shows that we do, and we have some very special guests tonight, which is very, very exciting. And happy Batman Day, everybody. It's really great to have you all here in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. I do want to apologize. We are hopefully going to be joined by Brad Ladner. You're familiar with him from the chat. He's having some audio issues, so we were trying to work through that, but he is rebooting his computer as we speak. So hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to Brad. Of course, Brad has the Guinness Book World largest Batman collection, which is very exciting. We also have Mr. Fatal the Collector in the house. How's it going, sir?
Man, everything is going pretty good, man, on vacation. Just getting the cave together, man, as a lot of us are doing. That's
right.
Why I'm not in my normal streaming spot right now.
It seems like 'tis the season to be, updating galleries and updating collections, which is really exciting. So I can't wait to see your finished product. That's exciting. We also have Jonathan from the Everyday Collector. How's it going, sir?
Happy Batman Day, guys. Glad to be here. Thank you. Good day, good weekend. But I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm excited to discuss some Batman tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you're just tuning in, this is Batman Day. This is a yearly tradition where we celebrate all things Batman. And so we're going to talk about Batman tonight. But as always with these hangout shows, this is your show in the audience. And so if there's things that you guys want to talk about, we can do that as well. I want to say hello to some people real quick before we get started. And hopefully Brad again can join us. We got Austin in the house. Hope everyone has a great Batman Day. Happy Batman Day to you, Chris. Hope it was a good one. My friend, it was a very good day so far. It's been awesome. And I was looking forward to tonight to hang out with all of you guys. Malika, I hope I said that name right, hopefully. All right, we're going to try Brad here and see if we... Hello, Brad? I don't hear an echo. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I don't know why it's for some reason it works except for when I'm in this. And in this it's not going to the thing, but the headphones are working. I don't know what it is.
Well, why don't we do this? I'll just mute you, and then whenever we ask you something or we talk to you, we'll just unmute you. Is that okay? Will that work?
Great.
Okay. I know it's not ideal, guys, but thank you very much. I'm just glad that we have Brad here. And Brad, if you want to keep tinkering, you can. If you whatever you need to do on your end. I know it's frustrating. But anyway, we're glad to have everybody here tonight. We got Dark Ranger 7 in the house. We got Georgia in the house. Let's see, who else do we have? We've got Dio or Do. Hey, surprised you didn't get the penguin mask bust. I really still like that bust. It's just I feel like it's a little bit overpriced for what it is. But do you guys like that bust at all? Like, is it something that you think is cool? That Pure Arts, Danny DeVito.
To me, it looks like a head on a pike.
It's kind of what it is.
It's different. I think they did well there, but I think I'd prefer penguin in statue form and get the representation that way.
Yeah. What do you
think of that one, Brad?
Which one are y'all talking about? I was looking up the problem with the speakers.
It's the Pure Arts one, the one where he's like the Danny DeVito is kind of a head on a spike.
I mean, it would go great with my severed head Danny DeVito collection. So, all of them from Other People's Money and Taxi, and I think it's great. I think it's a good likeness.
Well, I do think it looks cool, but yeah, again, I just feel like the concept is very strange, very strange. Got Julia Rose in the house. Hello, Julia. Bad Protocol. We got Mike Stainbrook in the house. Hello to you, Mike. We got Peter. Borg Q102. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Batman in the Batwing. Happy Bat Day. Thank you for being here. Got John in the house. Bruce Wayne's parents didn't make it. That is a good spoiler for sure. I guess it depends on what Elseworld you're talking about. Dylan Hicks in the house. We got Bad Protocol. Watched the video about collector burnout and really did some thinking. I'm just burned out. Collecting has nothing to do with it. The collecting distracts me. That was got a lot more response to that video than I was expecting because I feel like a lot of the collectors are kind of feeling the same way right now with a little bit of that. Do you guys have a little bit of that right now? I mean, you guys are in the thick of it with me, and do you feel that same kind of stress right now with the pricing and everything else?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating with the pricing and shipping and so forth. But At this point, it gives us a lot to go back into like the marketplaces and pick up our favorite pieces from the past. I think that's what gives us the opportunity. But for future pieces, yeah, it's really it's becoming stagnant. So hopefully there's a change in the pipeline.
Yeah, for me, I almost need a break a little bit, like a reset. I wish I can go one full year without collecting anything, without buying anything new, just so I can really appreciate the things that I do have. And with the prices, I mean, it almost has kind of forced me that way. Shipping being the price of a premium format. I mean, it's pretty tough on collectors right now. And then the pieces are not, to me, all of them are not meeting the expectation, like price versus what you're getting. Like the Hush is a Grail, it was $1,000. If Hush came out today, it'll probably be 23 almost.
At
And
least.
so I don't know. I need the break, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'll ask the same thing to Brad. I mean,
Oh, we got a little bit of a freeze.
Well, it wouldn't be Batman without Mr. Freeze taking
Exactly, showing
interrupting.
up, especially on Batman Day. Yeah?
Yep.
I'm sure he'll be back shortly. But yeah, no, there's but I see a lot of these companies even taking a step back, even from, if we keep it to DC line and DC product, like you see Prime One taking a major pivoting into some other characters. You're looking at seeing them do the anime,
wow,
and even
sorry
take.
guys,
Oh, we got him back.
got back. Sorry
Awesome.
about that.
No, we were saying it wouldn't be Batman Day without a freeze, right?
That's right. That's right. You got Mr. Freeze has to wreck Batman's Day's party. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, Brad, you have the world's largest Batman collection. Do you ever, through all of your collecting, do you ever get burnout with all the stuff that you've collected over the years?
No, I don't. But I'm different than y'all because I collect everything. So there's always something. There's always something coming. Every month there's going to be something no matter what. I get the comic books, so that's always new in and of itself. If it was something very, limited, where like y'all are just getting statues, or if I was interested in something that didn't come out with a lot of stuff, like if my thing was, Simon and Simon, the TV show, and they don't make anything or barely make anything of it, yeah, it's gonna suck having to wait months or years between for them to come out with like one particular thing or something. But that when you get every single or almost every single thing, you never get bored because there's always something.
Well, and I would imagine too that like there's so many different price points in that like, whenever we're spending if just as a statue collector, like if I'm only spending $1,000 on every single thing I'm buying, that can be pretty stressful and frustrating. So like where you have some smaller things like a comic book or trading cards or whatever might come in, there's different price points. So I would assume that's helpful.
It's all relative because when you get a McFarlane figure and that figure's $30, it feels the same way. Even though it's only $30, it still feels like, God, $30 for a McFarlane figure? That's a lot. Or, Mezco's charging now 120 for a figure. That's on the high side. Or I got those in art Joker figures. That was $1,000 for two essentially really, really, really well done Hot Toys figures. And that was certainly extremely pricey, but
Yep.
It's all relative. Everything's up all over.
Oh, that's a great point. But it is interesting, and I'm real surprised by how many people feel kind of the same way, just with the overall pricing and things like that. But anyway, it is what it is. We still collect. We still love this hobby, and we're here to talk about Batman today. So I want to talk about Batman statues today. I also want to talk about to kind of go around the horn and kind of tell everybody in the chat what drew you to Batman. I mean, we're all Batman fans here, and what was it that first drew you to him, and why do you collect him today? For me, I've told this story before on the channel. For me, it was when I was a kid, I was Scooby-Doo. Like that was the first time I remember seeing Batman. He guest starred. It always had the Penguin and Batman or Joker. They were the two main bad guys. And from there, I just was interested in them. I thought they were really cool. I thought the Joker was really cool, and still do to this day. And I feel like that's kind of what steamrolled me into the path of loving Batman and the colorful villains. And, you know, especially now that I am, you know, I'm a counselor in my real life, and I do a lot of, you know, getting inside the mind. And I think it's, you know, trying to get into Batman's psyche and stuff like that with all of his criminals and the detective side of him. I don't know. I've always just related to that, I guess. But Fate, I'll go to you. Like, what first drew you to Batman, and why do you love him today?
Well, I think my first love came with action figures as a kid, and just Batman being a regular guy, you know, and then competing with all of these superheroes. To me, that's what made him special, is how he could figure out how to compete with god level characters in the comic books. And that was so cool, because it made you feel like, as a kid especially, that, man, I can do something like that. And me, I'm in law enforcement, so I look at Batman as almost like a super cop, right? Detective comics, you know, getting the criminals off the street. Gotham reminds me of the city that I live in, you know, Chicago. I grew up in some of the rougher neighborhoods, so there's a lot of tie-in and to real life situations, and how Batman just kind of mirrored that hero, you know. Like, you got Mel Gibson on Lethal Weapon, but Batman is on another level. He's got the smarts, he's got the money, the technology to do all of these things. And for a guy, it seems like it can happen. You know, realistically, if a guy wanted to be a vigilante and he trained himself to fight and he had the proper equipment, he could probably take down a good sum of criminals. So it's the most grounded story as well. And then on top of that, his villains, he has a plethora of villains. So it's like you can never run out of a storyline when it comes to comics. So he's just multifaceted, and he can tie in everything in the whole DC universe. And you know, it's limitless when it comes to Batman. It's limitless.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like what you said about like the reality of Batman, like that's why I think I've always liked him and like Iron Man the best, is because they're just dudes using the resource to do something good. They don't have, you know, superpowers. They just have money basically and resources. But I don't know. I just always have related to that realism, that it could be a real person. Just like, you know, we have real heroes like yourself, or, you know, just like, you know, real people out there every single day doing something to make the world a better place and a safer place. So it's just awesome to me. How about you, Jonathan? What first got you connected to Batman?
For me, I was always around Batman as my childhood. Like my dad collected comics, specifically Batman. And then when I got into my before I got into my early teens, really it was the 1989 Keaton movie that really drew me to Batman. Jack Nicholson as Joker. Watching that as a kid, it really drew me into it. As I got older, of course, and again, then my dad was still collecting comics at that time, and he had passed down his books to me when I was like 15, and we go to the comic book store, and it was. You guys really hit the nail on the head when it comes to the realism. No superpowers, just, you know, raw story, life events. What he's been through made him into Batman, and wanting to just be a better person and make Gotham a safer place. But for me, Batman's always been just my character. I appreciate everything Marvel and everything, but Batman's been the guy, and that's what I grew up with.
That's awesome. Well, let's go to Brad.
Well, yeah, I didn't even know there was a Batman. Then I found Chris's channel and learned all about Batman from there, and started collecting that. He really, like, you know, he inspired me. You know, Chris more than Batman. No, I was 10 and saw I like Batman just like any other superhero already. You know, I'd watched the Super Friends and 66 show and stuff like that. I didn't like it more than anything else. And then I saw in the news about Robin dying in '88, and I saw the book about the Death in the Family trade paperback, when it first came out in the Walden books, and asked my mom to get it and started reading it. And I was just hooked in from there for it. And then my mind just changed from toys to collecting. Just like I just want to find out what happens next and what happened before, and just started reading. And just still to this day, every night before I go to bed, I read a Batman comic book. And I just that's my favorite part of it. And to what y'all were saying about the realism, you don't see realism in any of the other stories, because you can't have a Superman story where he's just solving a regular murder. You can't have, you don't really have many, like Wonder Woman's just trying to stop a drug dealer from getting out of the city or something. Those stories wouldn't work. It would be too simple. But Batman, you can have the stories where he's fighting a giant clay monster, and then the next issue, it's just a story about some thug that killed somebody, and he's just trying to track him down. And it works. And it's just as engaging as dealing with an insane clown and a guy who freezes stuff and a girl that has poison ivy all over.
So my question to you is, so, you said you started with, Robin dying, that issue, of course, very, very famous, iconic, Death in the Family. How did you go from that to collecting like everything, like to getting to the point where you're just like, I want to get more. I want to learn more about the character, but then going to the extreme of saying, I want to get as much as I possibly can.
When I found out that women really were attracted to it, and that you could just basically get a lot of women by having a giant, Batman collection. So I started going to the toy stores. I would load up the cart full of toys, catch women's eyes when I'm walking, like, how you doing? This is all me. This is all man. All this. Like the meme you see online. Like I take home six figures a month. I probably started getting out. I mean, I had some toys and stuff as a kid, but I mostly collected comic books. I mostly collected comic books until I was an adult. And it was when I could just afford more. I got to a point where all the bills were paid, and there was a little bit of money left over. And it's like, what are you going to do with it? And I wasn't really thinking I would ever save for the future or anything. So it's just probably, I would say maybe around early 2000, like right around 2002, 2003, that I started, like, when I was in the store, I'd like, okay, I'll get the DC Universe action figures that would come out. And it kind of started there. Whenever I would see them, I would get them. And then when I got a little more money, it was like those black and white statues look pretty cool. So I start getting a few of those, and it just kept building up. And then eBay came along and was like, give me all your money. I was like, okay, I'll give you all my money. But no, I didn't get so much of the merchandise, but I got the comic books early, and that sort of worked out in and of itself. Like, I have first appearance of Harley Quinn. I only paid $3 for.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I saved money there, and I could spend more money later on instead of having to go buy those $500 comic books now or more, because I just was getting all of them on the way up.
Are you to a point now where you if you start collecting something like the black and whites you mentioned, like, do you have to have them all? Like, do you have to go and, I mean, is that like, do you get to that point where like, I have to complete this part of it? I have to complete this part of the collection?
No, I don't need to complete it. And I don't have it completed. There's 8 black and whites missing. And I don't need to go after them. They're too much. Like, they're the ones that they're earlier ones, and they're like go for $200, $300, and I can't spend that much for a small black and white statue. Just my mind can't get past it. I don't need to have everything. I don't need to be complete. If you complete, then that's the end of it. Because the hobby is collecting. It's not having this stuff necessarily. The hobby is getting the stuff, and having the stuff is almost its own separate thing. That's sort of the display and the sharing, but it's almost two separate mindsets. And I feel more of the fun of it is the getting. and the searching for the things and the looking forward to the things that are coming up and like, oh, that's new, I really want that, I want to get it. And I feel like that's it's almost a different mindset than the keeping it and displaying it. And
Mhm.
so and I think that I spend more time looking and getting the stuff than I actually spend in my room and around my stuff, because that's the hobby, is the collecting, not the collected.
It's interesting you said that. I was just thinking about that very thing. Like, I'm sure you've seen this that I picked up. So this is, from Batman #1. This is
That's
page
awesome.
3. This is the very first image of the Joker ever, and this is the most I've ever spent on anything, as an adult, other than a car or my house. And so it's crazy to think that I have this. But you're right. Like, to me, the thrill of it was hunting this down, and just trying to find it, and then actually deciding whether I was going to buy it or not. It's great that I have it in hand, but it is more exciting, that whole searching part. So I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Then you get it, and then it's like, okay, now I got this thing, and now it's a hassle. I got to put it somewhere, and I got to dust it, and it doesn't do anything, and yeah, it's definitely more fun getting this stuff. It's kind of a sick hobby, because it's just this, it's a hobby of spending money on stuff, and then you get this stuff, and now you have it, and then yeah. I mean, it's the real enjoyment of the collecting and having it is just the love of the character and the representation of that. And if you didn't have the love of the character, like I couldn't imagine anyone who collects this stuff and they don't really. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't exist, or maybe there's someone who does, but like, is there someone who buys a Hulk statue, but they just don't care about Hulk at all? They've never read a Hulk story. They've only seen maybe some Marvel movies, and they may get the name wrong. They call him Bill Banner. I'm sure that maybe there's someone out there, they just really like the look of that one statue, but it's all more. We all have that core of why we love it, of the stories and things, and when I watched your video where you said you had the burnout, and I feel like maybe where the burnout maybe comes from is it's a hobby, but in your case particularly, it's a hobby, but also you have this channel where you produce, and you have to cover the news, and you have to go, you constantly have to be on. When people have just a hobby, they can take a break from that hobby for a month or 2 months. I say that I read a comic book every night. Some nights I just do a Wordle or the crossword puzzle, and I don't actually read the comic book. I can take a night off or a few nights off. But when you have a following like you do, and you have a YouTube channel, and you have a responsibility that you created, where these people count on you for the news, and they count on you to do your reviews, and they count on you to freeze and not talk for a couple minutes. When you have that responsibility, you got something on your shoulders, and then it's a hobby, but it's also not a hobby, and it's hard to take time away from that. And so where I could get bored with something, like I haven't Detective Comics has been boring for me for like a couple of months now, and I'm a few issues behind on it, because reading it right now is just a little, no slight to the writer, but it's a little work having to read that current story that's going on. So I can take a break from it, and I'll only read it when I have nothing else to do. But it's hard to take a break from something when you have a responsibility to it.
Well, I think that's, very well said. I do. There are times where, this hobby or this, doing the channel can feel a bit like a job, because again, I am doing, like you said, I'm doing it daily. Fatal and Everyday Collector, you guys have channels. Like, do you guys feel that way sometimes, of just the responsibility of trying to put out content?
You know what? You want to go?
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
All right. So at first I did, but I started saying, you know what, I need to take a break sometimes, because constantly trying to get out content, it's a lot of work, right? And I'm not monetizing anything. I'm not making any money off this. And then you got family, you got work, and me, I'm in school, so it's fun to get to do the chats. That's a little easier. So it's kind of like hanging out versus making the content, because editing videos and doing all that stuff is a lot of work, and it's not easy. So I like to do the streams like this because we can communicate and meet people all over the world who have like-minded, hobby. So as far as keeping up with the Joneses, I always been like a heavy collector even before YouTube. So I don't feel like I'm keeping up with the Joneses or obligated. And for me, I don't have to be first because if I want a piece, I think I can kind of judge for myself whether or not I want it. I might look at a couple opinions on YouTube, but I don't have to be the authority or the first one to get it to review it either. So that scales back the pressure. At first, I was like, man, I want to get these subs and I want to do this and I want to do the reviews and I want to be that guy. But you can get burnt out from that too. So true essence of why I'm even on YouTube. I got on here to share my passion of collecting with other people. And have I accomplished that? Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say that to me, that's the best part. And that like these type of chats, like I never, unless I have like a big guest on, like I sometimes worry about how it'll go. But like these are my favorite shows because again, I don't feel any pressure. It's just us talking, it's just us hanging out. And so I really enjoy, just like you said, just the community aspect of this, being able to meet so many different people all over the world, which is really exciting. How about you, Jonathan? What do you feel about doing the channel and stuff?
Yeah, so I've always been collecting. Same way, I've always been collecting. YouTube just became, for me, a journal sort of thing to document my my collecting and to hang out with friends. I love doing content. I love doing not necessarily editing, but like the thumbnails and so forth. The art and the fun stuff, making jokes and stuff. That's what I'm passionate about. But at the heart of it, it's really the hanging out with community members, getting to know community members, and sharing photos and experiences that really brings the value to the channel and streaming. Numbers and everything, you watch it. It's not about that. It's so many people do content with great production value and so forth. Not necessarily something that it's good to have, of course, but for me, it's the hanging out and being able to spend time with friends, especially with what happened with COVID, right? Where we didn't get to see anyone, and I'm over here in Canada, so it's not like all the amazing people I was able to meet in the States virtually like this and share the experiences. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's like I feel like what Fatal said, or just like that initial that initial pressure to want to try to grow a channel and get subs or get views or whatever. But like I quickly realized that I wanted to grow the channel just to make the community bigger. I wanted to connect more people, because I've said it before on the channel that a lot of times the collecting part of it it feels very lonely, because not everybody has a room like yours. It's like I just I had a construction guy come over this week, and he had his daughter with him, and they brought him into this room, and their eyes were like this big. They're like, I've never seen anything like this before, because you just don't don't see stuff like this in most people's houses. And so that's been my favorite part, is just being able to try to grow the community as much as I can on my end of things, to spread the word, to have a common place for people to come and enjoy this hobby together. And that's what's great about, channels like yours and other channels that have done these live chats and things like that. Like it's a lot of fun, because it really does connect the community.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on a little bit. I want to get into this. Let's go around the horn and talk about our favorite live action Batman and our favorite live action Batman movie.
How are you doing this to us?
I know. So I'm going to make you think. I'll start. I'll let you go. So like for me, my very first live action Batman was Michael Keaton. I know Adam West was before him. I did not really discover the Adam West show until Batman '89 came out, because when it came out, I saw it 13 times in the theater, and that was when they started re-airing all of those 60s Batman shows. And so then I fell in love with that too. But Michael Keaton for me was my favorite. And for a long time, I would say that my favorite Batman film was Batman '89. As I grew older, and to this day, I still feel like Batman Returns is my favorite. It's just dark, it's gritty, it's quirky. And I just really feel, I don't know, I just love that film for whatever reason. Of course, I love The Dark Knight as well, but that film for me is my favorite, and Keaton is my favorite Batman. I would say probably my next favorite is probably Christian Bale, followed up by Robert Pattinson at that point.
Pretty much.
But and the one that never connected to me much, and I know I get a lot of crap for it, is the Ben Affleck. I love his look. I feel like he looks like Batman. The suit is perfect. The Batman versus Superman suit was perfect. All the other ones I hated. But I just don't. I never connected with him, and I don't know why. But anyway, let's just go around the horn. Fatal. What do you feel about your Batmans?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, '89 was like that. The music and all of that stuff, man, just took it to another level. And I remember seeing Michael Keaton, and I'm like, man, that dude looks like he should be Batman. Like the cowl in his face are synonymous. But my favorite movie, it's got to be the trilogy almost with Heath Ledger.
Yep.
And it's just so realistic, right? But Bale was not my favorite Batman, right? And I know, like you said, unpopular opinion, Ben Affleck was my overall favorite Batman. And I know nobody will probably agree with me on this panel, I'm not sure. But the reason why is because I'm a fan of Frank Miller's Batman. And when I saw the trilogy get that Dark Knight label, I always felt that there was more Terry McGinnis than it was Dark Knight.
Yeah, for sure.
When you think about Miller's Batman, he's big, he's a brute. And when I saw Ben Affleck, trust me, when they cast him, I was like, man, are you out of your mind?
Yep.
But when I saw him in that suit, and there's some scenes it just stand out to me. The one he's like in that little cave area, and he's hiding in the corner of the ceiling. He jumps down on those guys.
Creepy.
He brands one of them. I'm like, now that's the Batman that I want to see. And the other scene in Suicide Squad when he takes down the Joker and Harley, and he dives into the lake, and Harley swipes at him, and he decks her and knocks her out. I'm like, this guy is Batman, right? But he never got the solo movie, and I believe
that's the thing.
I think that would have took it.
I feel like if he had his own movie or his own trilogy, I would have probably felt different about him. But I feel like he was so peppered into places, and then it got like weirder and quirkier, with some of the funny stuff. Like, I really do agree with you. I think if he had a solo film, I would have had a completely different opinion.
And if you look at Ben Affleck, as not beyond an actor, he's a better director. When you look at the movies Argo and Gone Girl, look at Gone Girl and how dark that movie was.
Yep.
If he would have had the opportunity to do some writing and have a solo Batman movie, I think he could have took it to the moon. But I just loved the merchandise, the statues, everything that came after Ben Affleck. I just love the way that Batman looked, man. It's just incredible. But overall, that Dark Knight trilogy is probably the best like comic book to film that I've ever seen in my life. But that's how I look at it. Yeah.
And I really wanted that Ben Affleck Batman versus Deathstroke film like that. I just feel like that would have been incredible. I think that they would have done it. I mean, I think that they wanted to do it kind of like that cut scene from Arkham Origins. Like they wanted to do some sort of battle like that. Like that would have been so kick ass. And the fact that we were robbed of that film, like it would have been so freaking good.
Yeah, fans don't matter.
Now that's the truth. All right, let's go around to Jonathan. What's your favorite Batman film and Batman?
My opinions, I think, align very closely to yours. 89 Batman, all the way. Michael Keaton is my Batman for me. Love the suit. I loved everything about it. Next in line, I'll say Christian Bale. But Christian Bale, the suit from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I think Batman Begins was really the movie that really brought me back into Batman in cinema.
Me too.
The way we saw him become Batman, the backstory with Ra's al Ghul, and then we got to see. I love that suit, the Batman Begins suit, the first one, and then the end, the introduction of Joker with Gordon and him on the rooftop, saying that they left a calling card, and he flips
Yeah.
the Joker card. Like, I left that theater, and I was still in school. I left that theater like goosebumps.
Yeah.
It was so exciting. And then Pattinson, Affleck didn't do it for me at all. Like, not even a little bit. Some scenes, like the warehouse scene, was cool, but I just can't get over that hurdle of Ben Affleck in a bat suit. He has the look with the suit on and so forth, but just the acting and him in the suit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you think though, like what we talked about, like if maybe he had his own solo set of films, that would have maybe changed your mind a
I
little?
don't think so. I don't
Okay,
think so. For
all
me
right.
personally, no.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's him. Nothing against him as like he said, as a director, he's great. But some of his previous work, like Daredevil and Geely, and I just can't get past the point of him as Batman. Just like George Clooney in a bat suit with uh with bat nipples. It's just, I don't know. It's he's just not my favorite.
You know, people bring up the bat nipples a lot, but people forget that third film, you know, that actually had the bat nipples on it first before the George Clooney one did.
The third one?
Yeah.
Which one? The
Uh,
the third one, yeah, with Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, yeah, that one had nipples on it.
Yeah.
People always bring up the George Clooney one. I'm like, but that wasn't
Poor
the first
Clooney.
one. It was the Joel Shoemaker, you know, when he brought it in. So that's funny. Let's move over to Brad. Brad, what's your favorite Batman and Batman film?
Well, first off, I'm Team Batfleck all the way.
Nice.
Everyone's done a good job, but something about that performance. Batman to me is angry, and Christian Bale like never really sold angry. And another thing, and I think this is more about how the character's written, is Batman is extremely sure. Batman is competent. He is sure of himself. He knows the answer even when the answer is wrong. He is completely 100% believes in his abilities and that he knows exactly what the answer is and has the plan. And when you watch the Bale movies, he always seems like he's asking questions and doesn't exactly know where, he's getting advice from Alfred, and he's getting advice from all these people, and Ra's al Ghul and all these other people, and he just, Batman to me is always about he being certain. And Ben Affleck, even though he was wrong to want to go after Superman, he was certainly certain about it and was very committed to it. And that to me screams Batman. So yeah, I wish they had the solo movie. I would have watched Ben Affleck just read the phone book as Batman.
Wow.
I would have watched that. My favorite movie. I think the Bale movies are the best. I think Dark Knight is probably one of the best movies ever made. When compared to any other movie, it's a top like 30 movie of all time. Just by cinematography and story and everything about it is it's probably the best superhero movie still ever made, better than Endgame. But for me, like, I have an emotional attachment to Dark Knight Rises, just because I went to the premiere and the whole experience with that. And so even though The Dark Knight's a better movie, and I love the Batman with Pattinson, like Dark Knight Rises is my favorite movie.
Say that's awesome. You said you went to the premiere. Were there any of the actors there, or you just went to the? Was it like a Hollywood type premiere?
Yeah, it was Hollywood. It was in New York City. All the actors were there. Famous people who weren't in the movie were there. We saw Ron Howard was there. Aziz Ansari was there. Stellan Skarsgård, the blonde one, Alexander Skarsgård. I met Neil Adams there.
Oh, it's awesome.
And and he introduced himself to me because I was nervous and didn't want to talk to anybody, and he came up to me and so I'm in line to get a drink and he's like right next to me and he bumps into me and then he's like, hey, and he points over and he's like, see that guy? And I look over, it's Cillian Murphy, and Cillian Murphy's like 2 people away from me. He's like, Scarecrow. And I was like, yeah, that's him. And he's like, he's with his wife, and he was like, hi, my name is Neil Adams. And I was like, that's funny because there's a guy who works on. I didn't know Neil Adams looked like. This was 2012. Like, it's funny. There's a guy who works on Batman comics, and his name is Neil Adams. Like, really? And it's like, that's me. I was like, no way. And I was like, yes way. And then we got like a picture together and everything. And I think he thought I was someone more important than what I was. Like, no, I'm just a fan that got in for being lucky. That's not special. But we took a photo together, and Chris Daughtry was there, and he was the only other famous person I actually talked to was Chris Daughtry, who I was in line, and I felt the hand on my shoulder like this, and I turned over, and Chris Daughtry was behind me. He was like, "You had some thread on your shoulder." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And he was like, and there was no AC. We were in the New York Public Library. That's where the party was. And there was no AC, and it was really hot, and it was sweaty, like so sweaty. It's summer. It was like July 16th was the date and the movie came out on July 20th. It was July 16th. It's sweaty hot. They're not running the AC. It's lots and lots of tons of people, and everybody's sweating. And I was like, he says something, it's hot in here, and I was like, yeah, it's very hot in here. And then Chris Hodge just looks at me like, sweating my balls off. and that's it. That was the end of our conversation. I was like, yeah. And those are the only 2 semi-famous people I talked to was Chris Daughtry and Neil Adams. All the actors, they were in this particular section where they had chairs and they were all sitting together at these chairs on the other side of like where you go in from the library, and there was ropes around. You could walk around them and kind of see them just all kind of sitting together and talking and stuff, but you couldn't like say anything to them. And famous people were doing this too. Like that's how I saw in Aziz Ansari. He's just walking around this line, just kind of looking at, all these people behind the ropes, and he wasn't one of the ones behind the ropes. And the Trump was there. Lots of Russell Simmons was there. A lot of famous people. But I the only reason I got to go was I won a contest. I wasn't like specially invited, but it was extremely memorable night. The whole trip was very memorable, and because of that, I have a very special, deep, heartfelt connection to Rises, even though I recognize it is not the best of all of the Batman movies, but it's one of the better ones.
Well, that is a great story. That's really awesome, and I relate to that just in the terms of like the Robert Pattinson movie. I really enjoyed it, but then whenever I was in New York and San Diego last year in San Diego, Jim Lee brought out Paul Dano, which played the Riddler, and so like I just immediately like had this giant excitement. It's like, oh my god, I get to see the Riddler in person. Like that's really incredible. And then I also got to see the actor that played Commissioner Gordon in New York when he came out and talked about the Batman radio series, and like it was just so cool to be able to see those actors in person. And that made me appreciate the movie even more. Just like what you said, it's like you just have that connection whenever you have a great memory like that. But that was a really cool story. Thank you for sharing that with us. So there's lots of great Batmans out there. Of course, I think we probably all really appreciate Kevin Conroy. I wanted to take a moment to remember him. The animated series for me was something very, very special. Whenever I was growing up, and I loved that series, loved Mask of the Phantasm. I still feel like that's one of the best Batman films ever done. You guys have any memories of the animated series? Just in general.
Oh yeah, I think it's probably the #1 animated cartoon ever made. Like it's in my top 5, along with like Thundercats and a few others. I think it's #1. And you know what? When it comes to DC and these animated films, that's where they kicking Marvel in the butt. And I don't understand why they can take what they do in that animated and bring it to the screen. And as for Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, we talk about who the best Batman and Joker. They are, to me, the best Batman and Joker. They just wasn't. They didn't do it live action, but the voices. I mean, you got Kevin Conroy doing that, and then he's doing the Arkham Knight video games and other stuff. And that animated series, man, it was something to behold because it was so dark, right, for a kid to watch that, and it took a serious tone. It was different from my Cowboys and Moo Mesa and Ninja Turtles and in Scooby Doo, like you said.
Yep.
And it was like a mature cartoon. You know, it was really good though, man. Loved it. I got the Blu-rays, all the package, anything that you can get from that, I'm buying it.
It's awesome. How about you, Jonathan? Any special memories of that show?
Not necessarily with the animated series. I'm trying to make the memories now with the little one. Try to sit him down, Batman, and put on the animated series and kind of introduce him to some of the characters. And he gets up in the nursery, and I have like a picture of Batman on the wall, and he says, "Oh, Batman." So I'm trying to make the memories now. But the relationship, like you said, between Conroy and Hamill, it wasn't live action, but you felt it. You felt it with their portrayals of the characters. And really, for a lot of people, that's where it all started.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
How about you, Brad?
I've got like a whole, aisle of Batman animated stuff. It's the biggest section in my room is Batman animated stuff because they made so much of it. But the just couldn't wait to get home every day to catch a new episode and to see what character from the comic books was going to be in it. And to, I love the Tim Burton movies, but they're not like the actual comic books. And so, and the animated series was very close. So to see characters be more and see more characters than what was being shown in the movies, and you're reading the comic books and all these Ra's al Ghul and Clayface and Mad Hatter and Ventriloquist and Scarface, and you're seeing those characters being put into a cartoon. It was so exciting. I used to have VHS tapes, and I would record them all, every episode, and fill up and get like 8 episodes on a tape, and then you'd start another one. I would label the titles of each one, and I had like 9 or 10 tapes going, and I kept it going till my mother recorded her soaps over one of the tapes. And I lost some, and I was just a irate young kid who was like, screw it, I'm not recording anymore, and I stopped doing it. But I had like a whole set of those, so I could rewatch them over and over and over again. But she did make up for it because when Phantasm came out, it came out on Christmas Day, and I got my mom, to take me the day after. It was the 26th, and we drove 2 towns over to be able to go to a theater that actually was playing it, because it was not big released. It wasn't in every theater, and it was like us and like one other person in this whole theater to go see this one showing because nobody was going to see it. And but I at least got to see Phantasm in the theater when it came out. And that was a great memory to be able to go and do that. And going to see it again. It's playing here in Georgia in next November. There's a special showing with 4 of the voice actors. I don't know the names off the top of my head. It's not, Kevin, or of course, because that would be Supernatural, and it's not it's not Hamill, but 4 of the lower cast members are going to be there in person at this showing in Macon, Georgia. And there's like VIP tickets and things. So if anyone's listening that's in Georgia, there's a special screening in Macon of the show, and there's a Q&A with some of the actors and things, but it'll be on the big screen.
That sounds awesome. I never got to see it in the theater. That's Vadel's got that great animated series Batmobile right there. That looks awesome. It's a great piece. And I think out of anybody like celebrity wise that I would want to meet is, I think Mark Hamill would be on number one on my list. I was lucky enough to get to meet Kevin before he passed away, and I've also met the voice of Poison Ivy as well, which that was really cool in New York last year. But of course, we've lost Arlene Sorkin, who just passed away. She was the voice of Harley Quinn from the animated series. So that's a big loss. So I'm excited that there's going to be some actors there. That's going to be really, really fun. I'm just really happy for you get to do that.
Well, yeah, me too. And I also got to say this. I don't know if you got the memo. Yeah, I don't believe in gatekeeping, but real Batman fans, they wear a baseball Batman cap, and I see one real Batman fan right there, and I see one right there. And then what's going on up here? It's this guy.
It's on the chest.
He has the chest.
He's got the chest. Oh, he's going to get a cap. He's going to get a cap.
Oh, there we go.
You know what? It plays. That plays.
So the true story is I've got this oblong head, and I try baseball caps on all the time, and every single time I put one on, and my wife goes, just shakes her head like, nope, that just looks awful. So I have one Nike hat that I wear, and it's the only one that really fits my head without looking really just pathetic. So I guess I'll wear my Mad Hatter or something. But
it works.
It works.
I mean, what level are we trying to take this to?
Oh, there you go. See, there you go.
It's Batman Day. It's Batman Day. I know you got some props over there.
Oh boy.
What level are we?
Fatal became the gold Prime 1 version.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that works.
There we go.
Not bad.
Come on, I know everybody got some.
I got the Keaton mask, but
it's not very Batman.
Actually, I'll get something. Hold on. This thing is like from God knows how long.
There we go.
See what Brad has.
Yeah, we got the whole crew here now.
I love it. Can you still hear me through this thing?
I can still hear you.
All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. I love your mask, Brad. That's cool. Hold on. I still have you on mute. Sorry.
I thought it was still up in the bedroom, but luckily it's still down here.
I did it.
Oh, what happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom, I guess. So that's awesome. So anyway, I want to talk for a few minutes about some statues. And there's been a ton of statues over the years that have been released. I certainly, I've loaded a whole bunch of photos up, but I certainly do not have all of the Batman statues that have ever been done. But I just thought I would just kind of go around and see what you guys' opinion on some of these statues are. And we'll start with one of the ones that got me started the very first statue, the big statue, the higher end statue, and it was this one right here. This one was the Batman from DC Comics, DC Direct. This was part of their museum line, and I think it was like $250, which at that time was like, I couldn't believe I would spend $250 on a statue. But that's kind of what started it for me. That was my very first high-end statue. What about you guys? Did you guys have a first statue that really kicked it off for you in terms of Batman collectibles?
Yeah, it was a sideshow piece. The one he's standing on top of the gargoyle kind of got a slight Captain Morgan type of pose.
The very first one?
Premium format, yeah.
Yeah, premium format. That was like my first Batman premium format statue that I ever purchased, or statue period. Yeah. And still have that piece.
Same here.
It's a great piece. I keep thinking about whether I should get it back. Was that yours too, Jonathan? Was that your
19? This was Batman Returns the Penguin mask. My dad back in the day.
Oh my God!
This thing is as old as God. Look at the Penguin mask, man.
Oh my God!
God damn,
that is crazy.
It's horrifying.
It's crazy.
I'll be honest with you, Chris. First piece that I saw that got me like attracted to statues. I was a kid though, man. I was in early teens. Was that Batman statue you just showed? It was. I had a comic. This one here. I had a comic book shop here in Toronto called the Silver Snail, and they literally built their entire front end display and put this in the center of it. And you'd walk by and it was just captivating. I never picked it up. This is the one that got away. Because it didn't work out at the time. But this is what really got my attention into collecting statues. Picked up some of the little, black and white statues at the time, but I think the first one was that Sideshow premium format. Still have it as well.
That's awesome. You got to check this out.
Jeez.
I thought this one was still in the bedroom too.
That's so good. So good.
Brad's ready for Halloween.
That's right. Okay.
I still want to get Brad a bumper sticker that reads, "Honk if you want to see my Batman collection."
That'd be awesome. All right. So this one started off for me. Brad, was there a higher end Batman collectible, like a statue, that was like your first one you remember getting?
I think the first higher end statue I got was the Sideshow Poison Ivy, the first.
Oh,
beautiful.
And then like soon after that was the Joker and the Harley. And then the Batman where he's on the gargoyle not with the yellow, but with the regular just black symbol. Those 4 sideshows. And then the masterpiece, museum masterpiece that you have, that one, I have the second one. I never got the first one, but the second one where he's same position basically, but he's going up some like broken building, instead of stalactites or stalagmites. I don't know which one grows up from the top. I went to school in Mississippi. I don't know science. I was there when.
I think somebody said the other day, I think stalactites are the ones in the ceiling because it has a T as in top.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. I think so.
So anyway, we have that was the one, and the one that was Brad was just talking about, the second one. They also did like a Catwoman around that same time. But I never had those two. And I think they did a Harley as well. But that was the first one that kicked it off for me. And so I've got a lot of other ones that we'll go through and we'll go around saying your opinion on this. So here's another one that I thought was really great. This is the Batman New 52 from Prime 1. What do you guys think about this one?
Love it. Have it. Never selling it.
Yeah, I saw this one in person. Well engineered with the going through the window. I appreciated that. I thought this was a really nice statue. And the cape is stunning. The fully sculpted cape.
How about you, Brad?
That's very cool. Who made that? I don't think I have it.
This is Prime 1 Studio. This is the New 52. It's the quarter scale. It's only quarter scale. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't have a lot of Prime 1. I only got like 1, 2, 3. I only got 5 Prime 1s, so yeah, I don't have that one. But it's very cool. Very if I it would not be something that I would turn down. So
yeah. This one is the Dark Knight 3 Master Race Batman. This is another one of the Prime 1 Studio pieces. This is one I have not picked up, but I consider it often. What do you guys think about this one?
This one for me is perfection. I love this piece. For me, my favorite Batman piece, to be honest. I put that at the top.
Do you have this one?
I have this one,
yeah. Do you have the blue or black?
Blue.
Nice.
I actually just took the rifle to Fan Expo and got Frank Miller to sign it.
That is really cool.
It was a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
But I love that piece.
That's been like one of my favorite things about these statues is going to the artist and getting a piece of it signed. I've got Jim Lee, I've got Jason Fabok signed, I've got David Finch signed, I've got Sean Murphy signed.
Awesome.
It's just and Lee Bermejo now. So I've got all of those artists.
It's cool to see their reaction when you put the piece in front of them and they're signing it. Yeah.
They like it because they like the stuff. Like they really are into it. The only one that's been interesting is when I talked to Greg Capullo, he was not happy with Prime 1 at all. Like he was really mad at them. So it was really interesting just trying to get some stuff signed. But everybody else has been like super cool about it. Like they're so happy that that their statues are made, and sometimes they'll send them. Sometimes
Yeah.
they'll send a statue to them. Not everybody, but that's just such a cool experience to get a piece signed like that. It's really neat. So congratulations on your Frank Miller.
Thank you.
This one is the Queen Studios Batman. This is one that's in my collection here. Really love this one a lot. Obviously, there's some other ones from like J&D and stuff like that. But what do you guys think about this? The two from Queen Studios, him and the Joker.
I got that set, and I did the rooted, the punch tear or whatever, and I like it better than J&D. But this is my opinion on it. I thought the J&D, the likeness was there, but he looked old. Both of the characters look older, so I'm fine with the Queen. And I think the whole setup with the connecting base was really cool. It's kind of heavy, that part, but it's a beautiful piece altogether.
Yeah, that base is insane. I mean, it's just like a lead brick. How heavy it is, but it's really good. Brad, do you have any movie statues, or do you have just comic book based statues?
No, I have movie statues. I have the Bale and Heath from Sideshow, and I have a Bale bust, I believe. I have a Bale and Heath DC 1/2 scale bust. I'm certain of that. It would seem weird to say, like, I'm not 100% certain I have a life-size bust of Bale, but I'm pretty sure that I do. I have to run out and just go look because it's hard to keep it all together. And I have a couple of other smaller statues that I don't have any patents in, like large scale like statues. I have a couple of the DC Direct McFarlane statues and stuff of patents and I have, and same thing with Batfleck. I have some Sideshow, and I have some DC Direct smaller statues, but none of if I'm going to spend Prime One money to get a big statue, it's going to be comic book related. I'm not going to get a movie related statue of that size because I know my core is the comics, and if I'm spending anything over $1,000. It's going to be comic related.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I like the movie pieces, but I prefer the comic. I just get. I mean, when I look at a movie piece, it's like that's cool, but I would much rather just have a comic book piece. So my eye goes to them more often than not. Although I have, like this guy. That was obviously a big purchase to have that life-size Joker, but obviously your eye definitely goes to that thing. It's just like Fatal's got those those busts back there. I would assume like most people see those in your collection and they're like, whoa, that's eye catching, right?
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he's frozen. He might be frozen.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. There he is. And so I just think those are showstoppers. How about this guy right here?
Oh yeah. Like that.
Great piece. I still feel like it holds up really well today.
Good sculpt.
Yeah, not everybody likes the chaps, like it has kind of that chaps look on the legs.
Or the mixed media cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new one they brought out, the pose is very similar to this, the Gaslight.
The Gotham by Gaslight, that's a nice one,
yeah. It is.
It is very beautiful. But the pose kind of is in that same realm.
Yeah, very similar. This is a newer piece from Prime One. This is the Batman Forever. We mentioned him earlier today. I think this one turned out really nice too. I feel like, especially the way it turned out, it looks a little bit more like Christian Bale's portrait to me than what we see here with the prototype, but not bad.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
What do you think of this one, Brad?
It looks cool. Is he supposed to be Christian Bale, you said?
No.
It's
sorry. This is the Batman Forever Batman. But the way it turned out, like the actual in hand, the jaw actually looks more like Christian Bale than it does Val Kilmer.
No, it looks good. Anything from Forever or Batman and Robin. I just can't picture spending any kind of large amount of money for any. Not that I dislike those movies, you know. Batman and Robin may be the best Batman movie ever made, and we're all wrong. But I just couldn't see. I would maybe spend that on if there was like a statue that size of Jack Nicholson Joker. That would get my money, but I don't think I could spend it for that. No, not for a Kilmer, unfortunately.
Jack Nicholson Joker, I'll take 2, please. Thank you.
I honestly, I don't think, maybe whenever Nicholson, finally leaves us, I think that'll be maybe the only opportunity that we ever get for him. From what I've heard from the statue companies, his asking price is insane. I've heard companies are still trying to recover from, the amount that they've had to pay. So I don't see it happening anytime soon, but we could always hope, of course. Oh, hold on.
That's the same thing that's kept them from making statues of 5 easy pieces. The same reason. And you haven't seen any statues from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Little Shop of Horrors because he's just too much.
It's unfortunate because there's so many people that I think would really appreciate it, and they're such a big fan, but for whatever reason, I guess he just doesn't need the money. I guess I don't know. Let's see. We can move on to this one. This was from a lot of people shared some love for Batman Begins. This is the Sideshow premium format. I don't know too many people that have this one. Does anybody have this one in their collection?
I personally don't know this one.
Nah, I just didn't feel it was necessary. I had enough Bell stuff, but I like it. It's decent for the price point.
Yeah, it's nice. And Brad, I'm guessing you have this one.
Yeah, I don't have that one. And if I was going to get a Bale, I probably would go for the Dark Knight one because I like the suit of that better. I think most people do than the Begins one. The suit's good, but I think the Dark Knight suit is better.
Has a little bit more detail. Speaking of detail, this one's definitely a non-traditional Batman statue, but it's has a lot of love in the community. This is the Batman Shogun. Do you guys have any love for the XM pieces? I know I've got the samurai pieces, but how about you guys?
This is great because you can display it anywhere just as a piece of art.
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have to be related to Batman. You can put this anywhere, and I think it can be appreciated. But yeah, this is stunning. What they did with the horse and the level of detail on the armor is extraordinary.
Yeah, and initially I didn't want anything to do with these pieces, and then they brought out that Killer Croc, and now I'm like, man, I wish I can go back and at least grab.
Oh man, you're in trouble. You're in trouble
because the Killer Croc to me is the best one that they've made thus far out of all of those. And I'm like, God, I wish I had at least one Batman to pair with it. The only one I bought from that line was the Red Hood. I think
it's
it was the Red Hood. That was good because I thought it made sense to be samurai. And now when I see Killer Croc, I'm like, if I can get a hold of one of those Batman statues from that line.
Yeah, you're looking at about $2,000 for this guy right here. That's
for a quarter
kind
scale.
of going price for him. I think this is more like closer to $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
But they are special pieces. I always feel like with the samurai line, I feel like you could just get a couple, and just to have represent the line. You don't have to have the whole thing. I don't have all the pieces either, but I just it is an impressive line. Brad, how do you feel about the samurai line in general? Do you like those at all?
I do like them. I do. I kind of wish I had them. It would be a lot to get in and try to get a bunch of them. So I've resigned myself to either waiting for Samurai Golden Girls, which I think they'll eventually do, and get Shogun Stan Sportsnik, or wait for them to do the next thing because they can't just keep doing samurai. So maybe they'll do Western and make all the characters Westernized, with the girl statues are a little bit more of the Western girls about town, and gunslinger Joker, and I think that those merging those two things in the same way they did the samurai, if they do something like that, I can get in at the beginning and just get them as they're coming out.
Well, and they have been doing things like that with the samurai line. There's like that medieval Batman storyline right now where I could see them doing some statues of those Elseworld statues. But yeah, I think, I thought it was really interesting what XM did, because they really couldn't get just the standard DC license, so they came up with their own thing, and which I thought was really cool. So you never know, we might see a Western version of it at some point. That's really definitely possible. But again, these two statues are just incredible, and the whole line's been really awesome, but very expensive at this point to try to track them down. This is one of my favorites right here. This is the Bat bike. I feel just incredibly lucky to own this one. This is Sean Murphy, of course, XM Studios. What do you guys think of this one? This one's pretty incredible.
This one's on my list, that's for sure. This is a stunner.
It's on my list. This is, and I know where to get it, but I haven't been spending. I've been trying to save, but that is a beautiful piece. Oh my God! I mean, it's like a third scale almost.
Yeah. All I'll say is, if you guys get it, be careful of the damn cape, because it will poke an eye out. Like I bumped into it earlier today. Like I just, it's so scary because it just sticks so far out in the room. It's just terrifying. But I hope you guys can get it. Is that
very well engineered?
You'd want?
I think it looks great. If it wasn't tied to the White Knight story, I probably would have got it. I'm not a fan. I know I'm the only person that's not a fan of those stories. And I've read them all. I read both of all three of the White Knight series and the Harley Quinn series and the Red Hood mini series. All based around it. And I've none of them. They were the best one, I think, was the second series where it was Batman versus Azrael, and to me it felt mid, to use the term that the kids use, versus compared to all the other stories and things that are going on. I don't really like I don't like the take of Joker in it, and I've never liked those stories, so I've never bought any. I bought some action figures from it, but I've never bought any statues, and I don't think I'll ever buy any statues related to that property, just because I don't like the story. But it's not it's a great looking statue. It's just it's not my cup of tea.
Well, and that's the best thing, is it saves you some money to go buy something else. That's the great thing about it, because it doesn't have to be everybody's cup of tea. But it is an incredible statue, especially if you like the storyline, and it is mostly base, but I still think it's just absolutely insane how good it is. This was an old premium format from Sideshow. Again, we talked about some Ben Affleck love. You guys that like Ben Affleck, is this something that you have or would want in your collection?
I got the Hot Toy version of this. For me, that was good enough. Statue-wise, this particular suit, I wouldn't purchase it. But with the Hot Toy, the money-wise, it made sense.
How about you, everyday collector?
I went more with the comic style, the black and white, the small representation, the Frank Miller version.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. But yeah, for anybody who's a fan of the Ben Affleck in the movie, the suit's a stunner. Good representation here.
Brad, sorry, I had the mic on. So Brad, you had said that this is your Batman. Do you like this suit?
I have that statue, and I think I have just about every iteration of that suit, except for anything that maybe like Prime 1 did. Or anything of that scale, but yeah, I have that statue, and I forgot that the eyes light up, because I just never leave them like turned on or go around and turn on those features. So that's a good memory to hang on to.
Yeah. It's a really fun piece, and it was a really big premium format too, which is really cool. I never owned this one, but I do like it a lot. I think it's really well done. This one was kind of a hit or miss among collectors. This one was a really unique piece with a really, really long cape. Did you guys like this one? I know not everybody loved this one.
Not necessarily the portrait, but I do like the draping cape. I thought the cape was very well executed.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like, I didn't love the portraits on it. It lacked some detail, but the actual statue itself was really different. I really liked it. What about you, Fatal?
Um, I always thought it looked like he smelled something really bad.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, when I saw this portrait, like,
Yeah, the portraits are
man,
just,
did you
yeah,
fart, man? Like he
yeah,
talking to the Joker, man. Did you just pass gas?
yeah.
But the rest of the statue is really cool, and the way the cape goes all the way down, that is really unique. I mean, I don't know how he's fighting with a cape that long, but it really does. Like, it's got a Spawn feel to it, that the way the cape drops down, and
Yeah.
I just wish they would have did a little something with the portrait.
Yeah, Edna Mode from The Incredibles would have had a fit with this one. That's for sure. No cape. How about you, Brad? Do you like this one?
I think that nothing's scarier than a Batman coming at you at night than one with an overbite about to sneeze.
Wow.
You don't know what he's going to do with those teeth. He's trained every part of his body to fight crime, and the fact that he is conjuring the face of a rat man is quite scary. No, I did not get that one. It's something.
Yeah, it is something. It's like it's just too bad because the portraits, if they just would have been better, I think this one would have been a lot bigger hit for them. But it is what it is. It was a cool piece, very heavy piece, by the way. This one was we don't talk about this one very much, and sorry, my photo's not very good. But this was the Batman, the Red Sun. Did you guys ever get into that storyline? I don't think I've ever read it.
Yeah, same here.
Well, I have it.
Oh, you have the statue.
I have the line. So I have
Superman and Wonder Woman.
all three of them: Superman, Wonder Woman, and those that I purchased right after my first original Batman premium format. These still hold up, man. Actually, when I change my background, that you'll see those statues behind me, because I just moved back upstairs to get a better Wi-Fi connection because I got a direct feed in my basement. But I'm moving; those statues will be behind me. They still look great. The bases on them are really good. And if you don't want to read the comic, go watch the cartoon, the animated film. And it was really good to me, you know.
That's awesome. It's funny because like you just don't ever see that statue like brought up. Like I don't remember, like you just hardly ever hear anybody talking about it. And I really think it's still a good statue. It's something really unique. It's kind of like this Gotham by Gaslight, where it's like this other storyline, this other world of Batman. So I'm surprised this one doesn't get talked about a little bit more often. But I always thought it was really cool looking.
Soviet Union feel.
Yeah. This is another one that's really unique. This is the one from Queen Studios. This one's kind of one of those Elseworld throne pieces. Any love for this one, guys?
This is one you don't really hear the community talking too much about. I thought this was very well executed with the two panthers on either side, and the throne was executed beautifully. Really nice piece. A little bit on the pricey side, to be honest, but yeah, I really like this piece. I thought it was well executed.
Yeah, I think maybe the Batman Who Laughs one got a little bit more of the praise.
Yeah.
You know, I do feel like it's the better piece, but still a really cool piece. There was that one, and then we also have this is another one of the samurai. We did talk about that earlier. This was the third in the line. There's kind of an old OG from Prime 1. This is the original Batman Hush. Did you guys like this one? I know it had some leaning issues.
Yeah, I picked this one up late. I have this one. Another one, really underrated for what you can pick him up for nowadays on the aftermarket. Highly recommended. Well sculpted, and the cape is stunning. Really massive, has a ton of presence.
Of course, it had that one, and then they did the second one as well, which I
Yeah.
think probably more people have at this point. Brad, I'll hand it over to you. Did you like either one of these, or do you have a preference of which one between the two?
I have the first one, and I'm very happy with it. I didn't get the second one. I believe the second one's the Batcave one, and I don't know what it was. There was nothing wrong with the statue. I think the statue looks fantastic. Something about the Batcave elements, I just I don't know. I guess thinking about that throne, the Batman on the throne, I want to see my Batman in action. I don't want to see my Batman at home Netflixing. You know, just sitting in a chair. I can sit in a chair. I don't want to see my Batman sit in a chair. I want to see my Batman jumping off a rooftop. I can't jump off a rooftop, or I'll scare people. I've always leaned. The only statue I have of anyone in a chair is the Joker Tweeterhead. And I've never really gotten into any of the statues where someone's just sitting around and except for I know there's Poison Ivy sitting on a vine, and that's a little different, but I like to see the statues more in action. So but I have the first Hush. I never got the second one because I didn't really like the Batcave setup that came with it, and I don't know why. I don't really have a good logical reason for it. It just didn't get me. But if it wasn't for the Batcave setup, if it was just that Batman just standing as he is, I think I would have bought it. And I just it's just sometimes you see a statue and it's great and there's nothing wrong with it, and there's something like in you just like, no, that's not the one. That's not the. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly great. They did a great job. They didn't fail the product. They didn't fail the IP. But this particular one is just not for me, and I feel like that's what it was with that second Hush. Though it's still probably one of the best looking Batman statues.
What about for 890?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, we had an echo there.
What about for $890? Because that's what it's going for right now. On Prime 1.
$890 and then $890 shipping.
Yeah, that's
the
the
shipping
problem.
is about $5, so you're getting it around that $13.90 for $1,400, something like that. So
Yeah.
that's like getting it. That's like getting it free shipping, no tax from the original price.
That's not bad.
Mm-mm.
Not bad.
You're getting it for about right there under $1,400 total.
Yeah.
Look at Brad over
There
there.
you go. Bradley.
I don't have a job, so and I've got an expensive Disney trip coming up. I haven't seen anything coming down the line that's of a large statue wise that is anything that's really excited me, and maybe part of that is because I'm really run out of room, and I don't know where to expand to yet. After I got that the life-size Joker bust, the Killing Joke bust, and the Dark Knight where he's jumping with the lightning behind him, and I've got a few other things coming down the line that I've pre-ordered, but I don't really have much more space. I have one Hush Batman. One Hush is good enough. That I have that one already, so that one's free. So it's already bought and paid for.
That's awesome. Let's see. Just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna go through these and just kind of talk about them, and then we can go back and talk about which ones we like the best. But just some other ones that Sideshow's done. We've got the '89 Batman. I still feel like that holds up. Some people didn't like the way his head was turning because he couldn't do that in the film. But I still think it holds up really nicely. You also have the Batman Art Edition. This is the Jim Lee piece, 3rd scale from Prime 1 Studio. Also the movie version. This is the one that I have coming. For the Robert Pattinson version, saw it at San Diego. Incredible piece. Also had the Dark Knight, of course. The Christian Bale representation. Not bad from Prime 1. I still think I like the Queen Studios one better. He had the Arkham Knight Batman. Again, just a classic piece. That started the whole thing for Prime 1 Studio, which is exciting. You have Gotham by Gaslight, which is really great. This is from Prime 1 Studio as well. Very much a direct representation of the character. This one I threw in. I try not to do dioramas, but this one is so iconic. This is Batman Sanity from XM Studios, of course. Fantastic piece. Batman 0 Year. So this is definitely that Capullo look, which is fantastic. With the Bat Bike, of course. This is my favorite, Tech 1000. Absolutely love this piece. It's just incredibly unique and just a jaw dropper in my opinion. Also have this one from Queen Studios. This one's an interesting one. This one recently just started shipping. Definitely a cool Batman. Batman Noel, Prime 1 Studio. Again, Liber Mayho, an Arkham piece. This is a 5th scale, I believe, from Prime 1. This is the Batman Ninja, another interesting piece from Prime One Studio, really cool. You have the brand new Gotham by Gaslight from Sideshow, which I think is really incredible. This is my newest one right here, the Jason Fabok concept, which is great. Again, there's just so many, and I can't list them all here. It would just take forever. But is there? Oh, there. Brad's got Sanity. Brad, how much do you like Sanity?
It's my favorite.
Well done.
Well done. My favorite.
Yeah. Missing out on that one.
Hit it. I almost just hit it moving the computer around.
So. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. So I'm guessing you're saying you probably won't sell that to me anytime soon then.
No, but it actually this is to tell y'all, like y'all know this. I have a will, and it says specifically in my will that Chris gets the Batman Sanity statue if something happens to like my whole family, and it like can't go to my kid. Like if we die in a plane crash or something, or Chris takes us all out to get the statue. But yeah, it has specifically for Chris to get it. So he's just counting the days, watching me eat cheeseburgers one burger at a time, like any second now.
I remember when Brad reached out to me and he offered that to me. I was like, that is just insane. That is absolutely cool. So it's very cool. But I hope that I don't get that anytime soon, Brad. I hope nothing ever happens to you, my friend. But we did look at all those statues right there. Were there any in that list of all the ones we just kind of breezed through that you guys love, that you just feel like are some of the best Batman statues out there?
Detective 1000.
Yeah. There you go. Nope.
Yeah. It's right back there. It's just
that one and DK3. Those two are, I think, top of the list.
Yeah, they're both so good. What do you guys think of this one? Do you guys like this new one from Sideshow, the Gotham by Gaslight?
I love it.
Yeah.
Have you guys ordered it?
Not yet. I'm thinking about getting this one at Collector's Zone. He's not far from me, so it's a drive from me. I really like this. The details, the stitching around the cowl, the gloves, everything. If they knock this out the park from prototype, this is going to be one of the best premium formats they've done, in my opinion, because all of the buckles and the details in the boots, it's just crazy. And the stubble on his face, crazy.
Yeah,
so
very well
good.
executed.
This is one of those ones that every time I look at it, it grows on me more and more. I had my nitpicks a little bit about it. The fact that it's not very tall. Like I wish it was a little bit higher up on a building. Because some people feel like it's like kind of got like a dollhouse or a doghouse effect that he's standing on. But the actual Batman himself, I just think is just incredibly well done. Jonathan, what do you think of this one?
I agree completely. I think it was very well executed. The cowl is stunning, but for me, even the base was beautifully done. Well detailed. You get the Detective 1000 vibes from that rooftop, with a little bit more detail, in my opinion. But yeah, I like what they did here. Overall, I think it's great, and at the price point at $700, it's really I'm happy with what Sideshow's doing and giving us these kind of products, great product at an affordable price.
Yeah, without question. Brad, is this one you're into?
Very into Gotham by Gaslight. I'm not going to get the statue, but I do love the statue. And I for anyone who hasn't read it, Gotham by Gaslight was the first Elseworld that ever came out. And I read all the Elseworlds, and Gotham by Gaslight is still like the best, to me, the best Elseworld story that they ever told of Batman. But I just, for it being just one story, it's hard to like buy a statue and spend that much money on something that's from this just one story, not from like a whole, pantheon or history. To me, it's just a little difficult to put that much into it. But I do love the statue. I think they did a great job on it. And if someone's favorite story is Gotham by Gaslight, or they just really, really dig the look of this statue, I think it's a win.
Yeah, I just I do think that this is just a unique take for sure, and it's such an iconic story. And again, like Brad mentioned, the first real real Elseworld story, which is really exciting. I remember reading it when I was younger, and I thought just how different and cool it was. So I'm sure that's probably one that I'm going to end up with, without a doubt. One I forgot to mention, I didn't get a photo of it. It's that the new the Batcave, the tactical suit Batcave from Prime One, quarter scale Batman sitting on the throne, just went up for pre-order on Sideshow. Actually, I just filmed a video today because I'm conflicted about which version to get because of the price point. You're looking at 1,000, 2,000, and almost 3,000, depending on what version you get of a quarter scale statue. What do you guys think of that one in general? Do you guys like it? Of course, based on the art of Gabriel Dell'Otto, which I'm a big fan of his work. Do you guys like that Batcave throne piece? I know, Brad, you mentioned you don't love the seated ones as much, but how about you, Fatal? What do you think of that one?
So I already know which one I'm getting. I am gonna get it. It's gonna be the mid tier. I want the screens and all of that, and then I'll get Alfred to go with it, because where I'm going to have it, I won't see that back part of the base, so it's kind of unnecessary for me to get. Although it looks really good, but that's a big statue already, and then I have to have it on the turntable. You got to have a dedicated space just for that, like a centerpiece, and I can't afford that space right now. I want to have it in the shelf with nice lighting. So that midpoint to me, and then you add the price of Alfred with it, I think that's the best bang for your buck you can get. I mean, this stuff is expensive, but
it's one hell of a Diehl. It really is. John, is that one that you're thinking about getting yourself, or?
I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. It's one kind of like the White Knight on the long-term list. I would personally like to go with the ultimate version, because I do like that Diehl. That Diehl is a stunner. But I think it works even if you go for a more economical version, even if you go the economy version with the Alfred. I think you still have a pretty sweet display as well. I don't think you can go wrong with either or, whichever one you want to go with. But Fatal brings up some good points. But man, I would want to make it work somehow. If I have to set up like a center console in the basement, and have that there, just because that back cave look is really cool. And I liked what Prime One did with that Superman on throne as well, with the same effect.
Yeah. Well, like Prime One, when I did my commentary on it, the creative director got mad at me. He's like, "It's like, why don't you not like the bonus? Like, you could just set it beside it." And I'm like, "Well, I don't. That's not the idea. It is actually setting it behind it, so it makes the whole Diehl. But yeah, you could absolutely sit it beside it, and it would be just as cool to be able to see the Batmobile and stuff. But my biggest nitpick on it is that I think I would prefer the screens, but I think that they would be off most of the time. So then they're just black. And I don't know if that would bother me, just to have, pay an extra $1,000 for just the black screens. I thought about like maybe even putting some like stickers on it.
Yeah,
like
BSC decals.
Some sort of like decals to make it look like the screens are on. Because I wouldn't have it plugged in most of the time unless like maybe like I'm doing a video or something. I might turn them on to have it on in the background or something. But I figure for like 99% of the time it'd be black screen. So I'm not sure. I think I would be happy with the chair alone, because that's what the actual art is. In the actual art, there's not the screens behind him. It's just him in the chair. And so I don't know. I'm just trying to justify the cost, I guess. But Brad, what do you think of that one? I know you said you didn't love the seated ones.
No, I'm holding out on the seated ones, and I'm either waiting for them to get what they really need to get to, which is hammocks. I want the whole rogues gallery in hammocks, or we stop messing around and we get to swings, and we just have, and you can imagine a swing set, and each statue comes on thing, and you get the first one you get the rail and the things. And then you can switch out which statues. You can fit 4 statues on it, and there's like a motor thing, and it swings them back and forth. And you can just change out whichever statues you want. You can either have it like Joker and Harley Quinn and Catwoman, or you can have Two-Face and Batman. But yeah, I mean, swings or hammocks. Let's stop messing around with these chairs. Chairs is that's so 2 years ago.
You can imagine the swing, like he comes forward and hits the Joker, hits the like drop kicks each one. That'd be pretty funny. I love it. I love it. Well, anyway, again, there's been so many statues that have been great over the years, and which is, I think that's why most of us are watching tonight, or most of us are talking, because we are collectors. We love this stuff. But I don't know. It's been a lot of fun to talk about Batman with you guys tonight. It's just, there's been such a history of Batman, and so many people are connected to Batman. And again, I'm thankful for this community where we get to connect with fellow fans. And of course, the community isn't just full of just Batman fans. We're all, superhero fans and movie fans and just pop culture, I think, fans in general. And so I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This was a lot of fun. I want to thank the guys, Fatal and Jonathan and Brad, for hanging out with us this evening as well, talking about Batman. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss before we wrap it up, or feel like we've kind of covered Batman tonight pretty well?
Yeah. So I didn't know you was gonna send me an invite tonight. It was kind of spontaneous, but I was gonna reach out to you because I got a little gift I want to send you. I know your symbol for the channel.
Oh, that's
right?
awesome.
So that's for a wine bottle.
That's really cool.
That's a cork, and then this hand.
That's awesome.
So I'll get that shipped out to you. This can hold a watch or some rings or whatever. And I know that's the logo you use for the channel. So I'm gonna send that out to you. And this is Batman, Batman Day. So you're the biggest Batman collector out there. I know I am Batman though. So, but
yeah. That's right. That's really cool of you. That thing's going in the Bat bunker. That's really cool. Thank you very much. That's awesome. That's awesome.
No doubt.
Well, again, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you again, guys, for hanging out with us tonight, and hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Happy Bat Day to everybody. Brad, again, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thank you for having me. See you all in the future.
And again, thanks everybody for watching. Jonathan, thanks for being here as well. And we'll see you guys soon in the Bat Cave. Thanks for watching. Happy Batman Day, everybody.
Thank you. Happy Batman Day, guys. Take care.